saying, brother. The numbers don't lie.
Cream, rise to the top. Oh, yeah.
All right. Let's start the pod. It's The Cell, a pro wrestling show. I'm Hank Ambrose, your host, and as promised, we're going back-to-back weeks covering WWE Scooby-Doo movies. This week is the sequel to what we saw last week, that dumpster fire. This week, it is Scooby-Doo WWE Curse of the Speed Demon, and joining me another time is my best friend, Payne. Payne, thanks for joining us.
Yes, I'm glad to be back. I'm actually super excited for this episode.
I am. This movie, I enjoyed it a lot more. It's equally dog shit, but I definitely enjoyed it a lot more, and there's a lot of really dumb moments that are going to be really fun to cover. But before we get into the review, we got a very special 2-episode week this week for The Cell for the first time ever. And there's been a lot of news this week that I want to go over. And just so the listeners know, we are recording this Thursday, so January 25th. And literally like 20 minutes before we hit record here, there has been more news that has came out about Vince McMahon and what is going to lead into an eventual lawsuit. So, you don't know anything about this, do you, Payne?
Not a single clue.
Okay, so Vince McMahon is a very controversial figure, and his most recent controversy is there was a former WWE worker to some degree, not exactly for sure what she did, but it was like a behind-the-scenes type of role, I believe, like a trainer or something. And I don't know how long ago, but I'd say a few months ago, she had accused Vince basically for, I don't recall if it was sexual harassment, but some sort of sexual harassment deal.
Oh, that's not
good at all. And quite literally, 20 minutes ago, we have gotten specific details, and I'm just going to go ahead and share this because Vince McMahon, along with his cronies, are vile pieces of shit. And we really have to talk about this. Basically, Vince McMahon has officially been accused by this former employee of his for sex trafficking.
Oh, God.
And it is like 100% true, because not only has this accusation come out, but also text messages have been released of Vince McMahon, John Laurinaitis, and Brock Lesnar being involved, for what we know so far as of the recording of this podcast.
That's insane.
And Vince McMahon, I'm going to read this from what another of my wrestling friend sent me because he put it really good. So Vince sex trafficking her to Johnny Ace, which is John Laurinaitis, a former Raw general manager, as well as Booker, as well as Brock Lesnar. Everyone knows Brock Lesnar.
Mm-hmm.
There's also a bunch of texts that have been released where Vince has been talking to her as well as Johnny was talking to her, and there's other quotes, and it's very, very vile and creepy. Some of the gist of it, Vince was talking about defecating on her head.
Oh.
While Brock and John Laurinaitis were tag teaming her as a quote. And the Wall Street Journal has actually published this.
That's bad.
Yeah. I have a screenshot of some of the texts, and I'm just going to read this. This is sent from McMahon. Maybe he wants 2 other guys to join you with him. Holy shit. You've told him you would do anything in quotations with him. So if he surprised you with 2 others, you would have no alternative than to take them on. OMG, the stories you could tell me then. It makes me want to expletive right now. By the way, I just thought of what I think is an excellent idea. Maybe you can hint that if he knows someone who can be discreet, it might be better if you and Johnny try him out first so he can get more comfortable before he is introduced to me. Actually, that makes total sense, doesn't it? And this is kind of hard to explain, but the way it's written, like, because it's a screenshot of the text, it's written like an old person, and that's not to be discriminatory about older folk, but they don't really do a good job at like texting, and you know what I mean?
Yep, I know exactly what you're saying.
They like, I don't know how to describe it, but they don't have very good textonics, if you will, and they type like really sporadically, and that's the direct text, but it's very sporadic, like this text.
Forgive me if I'm wrong, but didn't Brock Lesnar's like daughter just win something, or she's like the best in something? So that's incredible. Probably going to tarnish her legacy she's building.
Man, I hope not. But yes, his daughter is I believe she's a freshman, and is a track and field athlete for North Dakota, I believe. It's either North Dakota or it's Minnesota. But yeah, she like already has broken all these school records for being a shot put thrower. So that's really, really sad. And this is a real sad deal because on-screen character-wise, I have loved Vince McMahon. Like, he was a part of my childhood completely among so many other people. And he like revolutionized pro wrestling, and for this to happen is really heartbreaking as like child Hank and the other wrestling fans. And this is also going off of just some of the other tweets I've read, and it's so infuriating. It makes me so mad. So I wanted to share that, and I wanted to address that, and not because it's important to address, because he's a scumbag, and this is uncalled for. I know this is supposed to be an entertainment and more of a comedy show, but this is revolting from Vince.
Yeah, that makes me sick.
Yeah. There's even more texts. They're all over the internet as of right now. I'm sure more information will come, but as we are recording, it's 12:33 on the 25th of January. That's the information we have right now. And, that's bad. And to quote CM Punk and the infamous pipe bomb promo, the WWE would be a much better place if Vince McMahon was dead. Yeah, and I'd like to echo that. So a very infuriating way to start the podcast. Sorry if I brought the mood down. But again, this is something that I believe is very important to share, and our thoughts on that as well. Other news that has came out, WWE Games has released teaser and trailer after trailer for the new WWE 2K24 game, which looks awesome.
Comes out in March, right?
I don't know if they released a date, but it would be around March. If it's not March, it would be early April, just by the history of when they have released them. Now, I'm not going to talk about it and go into detail about all the news this episode because continuous new information is coming out. So next week I will make an episode covering that. And I'm also, spoiler for next week, going to have an episode where I predict the Road to WrestleMania matches that they are bringing back with the 40th anniversary of WrestleMania. So really excited to bring you guys that. I know you guys are really going to be excited.
Isn't there some other news as well, the Netflix deal?
There is other news. Thank you for bringing that up. I believe it was $5 billion deal or some number.
That's insane.
$5 billion. And it's going to be, and it's good for 10 years, and it starts January 1st of 2025. SmackDown, however, is going to continue to stay on television network cable network, if you will, they're going to actually be moving over to the USA Network, the very long home of Monday Night Raw. So the Fox deal that SmackDown has had for a numerous amount of years, that's going to be over, and that will be over as soon as October of this year. And what that means, first off, huge for Netflix. I know $5 billion, that's a lot of money, right? But I think that they actually got a really good deal because this allows Monday Night Raw now to change their ratings since they're not on network television in terms of cable. They could quite literally go back to some Attitude Era. They could show blood on television. They could be a little more expletive with their swearing and a little more raunchier. So that's something that I'm a little bit excited for. Now, what WWE has going on right now I think is awesome, but having a little bit more of a mature side of things I think would also be pretty fun. Those are the main headlines.
Yeah, I don't understand how it would quite work, but I guess we'll see.
Well, here's the other thing is Netflix is not streaming anything in terms of live content. So this is going to be, as far as I know, the very first live content or live stream that Netflix will be going to put out. So knock on wood that it's going to be susceptible and good quality because who knows? It could very well be horrid.
It could well be. I can picture like seeing like big Netflix ends, like their logo all over the place and shit like that. But yeah, we'll see.
Now, I know that there's been a lot of talk like, man, I wish they just continued to go with Peacock, which Peacock will still be the home of the WWE Network and the PLEs, paid live events. And I agree. I do wish that they were able to strike a deal with Peacock, but I have Netflix already, so I can't really complain too much, but I understand where other people are frustrated because now they're going to have to pay almost another $20 a month to watch Monday Night Raw. Which really, if you're a pro wrestling fan, you can't go without watching Monday Night Raw, in my opinion, unless you're just a casual viewer.
I wonder if they'll have because Netflix has kind of been on the decline recently, especially with all their new policies. Yeah. I wonder if they'll have like a WWE version or something.
Oh, yeah, maybe. That's a good point. That'd be interesting. Well, anyway, that's some of the news headlines for this week. How about we start this WWE film review, Payne?
I'm ready for it. I like this movie, I think.
I liked it, too, a lot more than the first one. Again, it's Scooby-Doo and WWE, Curse of the Speed Demon. And I got to say, I'm really happy with they still were able to keep ties from the first movie. They didn't just completely throw that in the back. Because between the previous movie we covered, they're only 2 years apart.
Mm-hmm.
And I think they're even less than a year when it comes to production.
Oh, I bet they were written probably at the exact same time.
From what I read, because Dusty Rhodes is in it, and he passed away in 2015 before this movie came out.
Oh, I did not know that.
Yeah, so again, a little bit of the background. Payne is not a wrestling fan, does not have wrestling knowledge. I'm the big machismo with the wrestling knowledge. However, Payne is a master movie watcher, so this ties in for a well combination. And let's get started. How about we?
This movie is a little bit different. It starts off directly with the song intro.
It does. And I must say that the song intro is much better than the first one.
Oh, it slaps. It low-key is fire.
Yeah. I was going through these credits, and these are some of the I wrote down. Paige is in this movie, which means she has 2 movie credits and 2 adult film credits. Wonderful.
Adult film?
Yes.
Really?
Yeah.
Didn't know that.
Yeah, she did some stuff willingly with some other wrestlers that do not appear in the movie. Yeah.
I just know she's Ronnie Radke's girlfriend.
That is true.
And I just know he's terrible too, so.
Well, I'm not saying she's terrible. But
well, he is. I don't know anything about her. I just know she has that one movie with Vince Vaughn.
Yeah. I'm not the biggest Paige fan, but she was the Kickstarter to women's wrestling in the WWE, so I respect the hell out of that. I'm a huge fan in terms of WWE and AEW superstar, but like in terms of her matches, the stories, I wasn't huge into her following.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I just know she's like kind of like a goth British person. That's all I know. So.
You are exactly right. That is even her gimmick. Okay. My first question is right away in this movie. And what does racing have to do with the WWE?
Yeah, that's what I was thinking the whole time. I feel like it had to been like, here's my pitch. I don't know if this is real or not, but I feel like maybe they were making a racing movie and then the WWE was like, hey,
yes,
why don't we buy that script?
100% agree with you. 100% agree with you.
Otherwise, it doesn't make a lick of sense. They don't have any of the WWE city. They don't mention it once. And that was like the big gimmick of the last one.
Yeah. And the other thing is, like, what I want to know is what is going on within the WWE at this time, because I want to know who the champion is. I want to know everything else. Like, do these wrestlers just take time off to go and race? And by the way, they talk about the prize in this movie, which $1 million is a lot of money. But for WWE wrestlers, that's nothing. And everyone holds that to a high honor. And the shit that they say that they're going to spend the $1 million on is hilarious. I don't want to get into it yet, but we will get there.
But it's not even $1 million because they have this weird tag team gimmick.
True. So it's 500,000 a piece.
Yeah, which is even more odd.
It's like, what the hell?
I totally agree.
Yeah. And again, we understand that these are kid movies for kids or whatever, but you have to at least make sense.
I think this movie is relying heavily on people loving The Undertaker in it.
Oh, yeah. Oh, my God. So Undertaker lost his WrestleMania streak at WrestleMania 30, which was like right before they started filming, or I guess voice acting for this. So as soon as he lost his streak to Brock Lesnar, they buried the hell out of him by making him the star of this movie.
Which at first I was like, I've seen this movie a couple of times, and at first I was like, God, he is annoying, but he really turns out to be the best non-Scooby-Doo character in the movie, I think.
Yeah, for real. Okay, so let's get into this. I guess I also started with another question. Following it up to my what does racing have to do with the WWE, I also said, and why are Shaggy and Scooby hot dog vendors at this race?
They mention it a little bit. Vince McMahon let them do it.
Yeah, it's like, well, I guess that is totally Vince McMahon's character, so I'll give him props. That it's like, oh, you did such a good job at finding the Fire Bear in the first movie, so now I'm going to let you work for me at like a shitty hot dog stand at a WWE race.
They have a food truck right on the starting line of this racetrack. And it's like a big Subway sandwich sub car.
And they're so... It is like part of the appeal that Shaggy and Scooby are dumb. So it's like they're watching the race on TV in the hot dog mobile or whatever. And then they're like, wait, we're already here. And they open up the doors.
It's like this. Yeah.
They were closed?
And they had a line of people waiting
Yeah.
Because they have a skinny man and a dead meat sandwich, which is their wrestling names.
I wrote down what those are. We'll get to that in a second as well. Some more notes I took, some personal notes. I literally couldn't tell you who Pamplona de Especial is. This is part of the era where I was out of wrestling because it just turned into crap. And I didn't even know if that was a real team, but it is. And then I was laughing because Rusev the Cuck is in this movie. So, a little backstory. Rusev, the Russians.
Mm-hmm.
So, Rusev and Lana are married in real life, and now they're wrestling for AEW. But in WWE, in real life, Lana, who again is married to Rusev, like they're a legit couple, slept with this other WWE superstar, Bobby Lashley. And it was a real life beef, and they ended up turning it into a real storyline on TV.
Oh, man.
Yeah.
I can't.
And that would have happened around the same time as this movie came out.
Interesting.
So it was just nice. Rusev,
are they
the
that
cuck is
Russian
here.
in real life?
So Rusev is foreign. I don't think that. So the girl's name in real life is actually CJ Perry, and Rusev is, like I said, he's foreign. I don't recall his real name, but I don't think that CJ Perry is actually foreign. I think that was just a
ruse.
Yeah.
Interesting.
Also here, Goldust and Stardust, and Cody
With
Rhodes
Sheamus.
is hissing. So, up to date with wrestling nowadays, Stardust is Cody Rhodes.
I did not know that.
Are you familiar with Cody Rhodes and what's going on?
I know he's the Ultimate Edition cover of the next game.
Yeah.
And I know that you don't like him.
I don't.
And I know he has the meme, I need to finish the story.
Yes.
That's all I know.
You are exactly right in saying that. He's the protagonist of the WWE right now.
Interesting.
Yeah. Some more notes that I took. So this is a tag team off-road race. Just saw a background character that looked a lot like me. Did you see that guy by chance?
I did not.
He was
Did you write
standing in
down what
line.
time?
No, I didn't write down the time, but it was one of the guys standing in line, and he, I know it's a cartoon, but he actually looked like me. So it was.
I'll have to check that out.
I wrote it down. Yeah. Shaggy working the food truck. We get a shot at the menu. Taquitos, mustard and waffles for $10. French fries with ham for $6.50. A 4-foot-long hot dog. Bruh, where the hell do you get a hot dog so long, dude?
I have no idea.
4-foot-long hot dog. I want you to think about that. That's 48 inches.
That's impressively long.
That's how tall our buddy Josh is. Yeah. Shout out, Josh. Also on the menu, the Big Fat Burger for $10. And then the reference from the last movie, Skinny Man's dead meat on a bun. Scooby made a really funny car engine noise where he went, rum, rum, wee.
This movie has way better jokes in it. I was laughing out loud.
I did too, yeah. I was laughing too. And I don't know if you felt this way, but in the first movie, to me, I felt like they all recorded their parts individually. This movie felt like they were actually all in the same room, like how most animation studios do it, and recorded their parts together.
Mm-hmm.
So
I think
it's way more conversational.
I think that the Scooby-Doo gang, which has been 99% of the same people for 50 years, I think they always do record together because Frank Welker has been Scooby for many years now, and he has to bounce off Matthew Lillard, who took the roll up from Casey Kasem.
Yeah.
But I think maybe they got the wrestlers in on this time because it feels much more realistic.
It's crazy. Casey Kasem is Shaggy. I'm Shaggy Rogers. Okay, my next note. Why is the Authority in this movie pre-Seth Rollins? It would have been so awesome if they got Seth Rollins also in this movie. But, like, right before he joined them is when they, like, wrote the script. Randy Orton, who also was a part of the Authority, and Kane and Big Show also not in this movie. Which, like, come on.
I feel like this movie got a lot more... There's a lot of people I don't recognize at all. Like, I kind of know a teensy little bit, but, like, the luchador guys don't know who the fuck they are at all.
That's what I said earlier. I don't know them. Pamplona de Especial. I'm sure I'm butchering that. Like, so again, this was during the time that I was out of watching wrestling. So I'm assuming they were very much like Sin Cara. Like, we got to have a luchador in there. And because WWE has had terrible luchador story progress besides Rey Mysterio for the past 50 years. Yeah. Anyway.
They are some of the funniest people in the movie, though.
They do. The bull one, El Dorito, or I believe his name is, Ride Scooby.
Scooby.
Yeah, it's Scooby, it's Scooby. I wrote that down. I actually wrote that down. It's Scooby, it's Scooby, it's Scooby.
Okay, back on track here.
Okay. LOL, Vince shits his pants with Stephanie driving in the event.
Yeah, they're doing a time trial right now to see the starting order for their 3-leg race.
Yeah, and Vince joins Michael Cole in commentary, and he's like, "Yeah, my Stephanie is busy at work booking for the WWE," and then and then you see her driving the car, and he's like, "What the hell?" Oh my gosh.
And when we say cars, we don't mean like, oh, she's driving a Dodge Dart around. These are like monster truck, huge Mondo trucks. These are ginormous.
Yeah. So, like you said, there's a time trial going on, and then they keep cutting back to like dialogue Shaggy and Scooby are having with people. And there's an Undertaker superfan group where like 7 dudes are dressed as Undertaker in different eras. It was pretty good.
I did notice.
The gang then talks about Dead Man's Curve, which is one of the spots on the track.
On the last leg of the race is the Dead Man's Curve or whatever.
Yeah, and because there's not really a way to set up a trap in this movie, well, kind of, for Fred, he then takes up being a mechanic. And he called himself a gearhead, which I've never heard of. Do people in the mechanic industry call themselves gearheads?
I think I've heard that before, but
I've never heard that.
They reference it a lot where he's like, he says like, I won't have time to work on my Sumerian trap reading, but I might have to work on a car or something. It's like, what the fuck are you talking about?
I've heard of like a junk monkey before.
Oh, I've never heard that. That sounds racist.
No. Jeez. All right. Not a racist term. I've heard that as an engineer, so like a mechanic.
You should have messaged your racing brother and asked him.
Yeah. By the way, the like side character, the mechanic, is my brother. I'm pretty sure.
Big Earl.
What?
Big Earl is his name.
Oh, Big Earl. I thought you said the girl or something.
Oh, no.
Or Big Girl.
That would have been way funnier, I think.
Kofi Kingston, sideline reporter with a tie, but not a dress shirt vibes. Nice.
Is he... I thought he was a wrestler. Am I dumb?
He is a wrestler, but for some reason they make him a sideline reporter.
So he's wearing like his jammers or whatever he's got on his pants.
Gear. Yeah.
And then he's got a tuxedo coat. I don't know what the correct term is. And it's like, what is he doing?
Yeah, with a tie, with no undershirt.
Mm-hmm. It's very, I don't know. It's very weird.
Yeah. More weird stuff with him later. But for now, the villain arrives in the race, and they call him a bunch of different things in this movie. At first, they call him the devil, and then it's his official name on like the cast list is Inferno, and for like the credits. So
he arrives during the Undertaker's time trial.
Yeah, and
correct?
Yes, because the strangest tag team I've ever heard of, literally, The Undertaker and Dusty Rhodes. These guys have nothing in common.
I've never heard of Dusty Rhodes. He looks like a Street Fighter 4 character. I don't know. He looks very weird.
So Dusty Rhodes is Stardust and Goldust's dad in real life.
Is he really their dad?
Yes, 100%.
Interesting.
And Dusty Rhodes is known as one of the goats of wrestling. And
from what time period?
This is like the 1970s, 80s, 1970s.
Jesus Christ!
Yeah,
and he's in this movie.
Well, like I said, he passed away. Like he was old, or he was getting old. He was, I think, he was right at 69 when he was almost 70 years old when he passed away. But a little backstory on Dusty Rhodes, because it would make more sense in the movie if you knew this, Payne, is Dusty, his gimmick is that he's the American Dream, right?
Yeah, they say that a couple times.
Yeah. Now, here's the thing. With wrestling in the 70s, 80s, 90s even, early 2000s, promoters were huge on pushing guys that were freaks of nature in terms of size. Like literal Superman people, like Roman Reigns, The Undertaker, that sort of thing that you see the like real iconic people get. Well, Dusty had impeccable in-ring ability and promo skills, but as you see his cartoon is, just like his cartoon is in real life, he is a shorter, pudgier guy.
I'm Googling him right now.
Yeah.
See what he looked like.
And he was not no offense to him, but to me, he was not a very handsome man. Now, I'm sure other people would say on the contrary. But Dusty Rhodes, because of the way he looked basically, they threw him down and gave him and buried him his whole career, basically. Like Vince McMahon in real life made him wear bumblebee polka dot black and yellow trunks and made him dress really weird and basically never pushed him. Even so, he was basically I would describe him as the first wrestler where fans were super behind and were mad that he never got like a real push.
He kind of reminds me of, this is entering the world of boxing, which I don't know a lot about, but he kind of reminds me of Butterbean. Yeah. Who would just like destroy people, but he like wasn't really huge.
Yeah. He's short and stocky and yeah. He's a Butterbean.
Yeah.
And so Dusty Rhodes was a world champion outside of WWE, but in WWE he's also known as, and there's other people that would maybe say that he's actually second or third, but for the outlook of most wrestling fans is he is the best wrestler to never win the WWE championship.
Interesting. Out of like all of
everyone.
50 years?
Yeah, even longer.
Interesting.
So when you hear Cody Rhodes talk about finishing the story, his story is getting the WWE title for his father,
his dad.
Yeah.
Okay, I can get behind that, I think.
Yeah, which I can get behind it. My problem is with Cody is that, and this is so off topic, is Dusty was like legit, and Cody was like, to me, is a super nepotism baby. And
for sure he is.
Yeah,
there's no way.
And like Dusty was really one of the most famous promos of all time. Dusty cut. He's the son of a plumber. He's the American dream. He grew up the hard way, poor. He slept in the alleyway and all this stuff. Where Cody, even though Dusty was never like a WWE champion, he was still very successful and wealthy. Cody grew up rich, nepotism, and grew up with an older brother who is Goldust, who wrestled 2 decades before he ever even started wrestling. So that's how I feel.
They have a big age gap?
Yes.
I thought they were like,
well,
this is going to sound so stupid, but I thought they were like twins or something.
Well, I mean, they dress them very close, so I just Googled it. Goldust is 54. Cody Rhodes' age?
37
38.
is my guess.
Yeah.
38? Yeah, I was close.
So, I mean, 16-year age gap.
That really changes my perspective on this movie.
Yeah.
Then.
So, and that's the other thing is Dusty got a very similar treatment to his father. Dusty started wrestling in the 90s, I believe. If not, he made his maybe made his first appearance in late 88 or 89, right? And Dusty was Goldust
or whatever.
Goldust, who his real name is actually Dustin, was originally booked as like the prodigal son, like the up and coming star, because he had a great look. He really handsome guy. He's tall. He's got a build. He's slender. So originally, like I said, he was like the prodigal son of one of the greatest wrestlers. And Vince did basically the same thing. Now, Dustin Rhodes went along with it and really really made this into a real amazing character where he turned into Goldust. Goldust is more or less, and keep in mind, this is like the mid-90s. Goldust was booked as a feminine homosexual drag queen, basically, who had like a stuttering gimmick, and like, so they buried him. That's what burying is when
they would just like toss him to the side.
Yeah, or they just make him a complete joke, right? So that goes even deeper to the Rhodes dynasty. And then, like, by the time Cody came up, they eventually did the exact same thing with him. At first booked him as, like, this prodigy son, and then they just didn't develop any story with him, and they made him not only Dustin Rhodes' brother, but the brother of Goldust, and now Cody Rhodes is Stardust.
Interesting.
Anyway, I apologize for that tangent, but just
that adds a lot of context to this movie, I think.
Yeah.
That explains why. So the Undertaker and Dusty Rhodes are in the Legends Mobile.
Yeah,
wasn't he still wrestling around this time?
Who?
The Undertaker, like a little bit.
Yeah, he's a part timer. Undertaker only retired in 2020.
Yeah,
and this was 2016.
That was the last like pay-per-view or something, and but it was like shut down because of COVID. I know that story for some reason. I don't know why.
Yeah, close to that. Yeah. Anyway, if we haven't talked about the Rhodes enough, I've written a note down, a quote down of what Dusty Rhodes says, as he goes, "Inferno doesn't seem neighborly at all."
Yeah, he does have some heater lines in this. They flip their car and they like get out and it's all ruined and stuff.
I wonder if he passed away in the middle of production, because the beginning of the movie has him a lot, and then they kind of take him out of the movie.
Yeah, he does. Oh, we also forgot to mention that Undertaker introduces himself. He's like standing there doing all his shit, and Scooby and Shaggy are scared of him. Yeah,
so what I wrote down to combat that is Taker sounds nothing like Undertaker, despite being voiced by Mark Calloway, who is Undertaker.
Oh, I see. I don't...
Like, he's super zany.
I don't know. He just looks like the cover of Ride the Lightning to me.
Yeah. Well, Undertaker, like, as a character, doesn't talk a lot. And they give him so many lines in this movie. And they give him so many, like, funny, dumb lines, too.
Oh, yeah. He says some of the funniest shit in the movie, I think.
Yeah. So Undertaker vows to get vengeance for his racing partner, Dusty, who ended up getting clapped by Inferno. And Miz and Paige, which is a very strange tag team, are like, no, we will. And they're having basically a conversation about, like, who is this? And typical Scooby-Doo stuff.
And Vince goes and finds the gang.
Which Vince McMahon is like 4 inches taller than Shaggy and Fred. Why?
Yeah. So I was going to mention this. So Fred, for probably 20 years now, has been 6'2". Like, that's just a thing. Like, Scooby-Doo continuity is a little, like, really shitty. But he's been 6'2". He's like, I'm 6'2", I bench 220. He says it all the time. And Vince McMahon has to be 7'8" in this shot. He is towering over Fred.
I don't know why they made him so big. Like, I understand it's like, we're WWE superstars. We're bigger than the average person, because that's like what they do, because they have like fictional build heights. So Vince McMahon's build height in WWE is 6'3", but in real life he's like 6'1".
This is gonna be another tangent probably, but was he like a wrestler and then he inherited the WWF?
That's a great question. Man, I wish we could have an episode where me and you just like talked and I kind of had like a genesis of wrestling with you.
We absolutely can. I can do that anytime you want.
Yeah, that'd be sick. Vince McMahon is a junior. I don't know if he's like a junior, but he's like the second. Vince McMahon Sr. is the founder of the WWF.
Oh.
Which started way back in the 1950s, let's say, right? And it quickly became one of the most popular promotions. And what was interesting is Vince McMahon Sr. had nothing to do with Vince McMahon Jr. growing up or anything. Like, I think I read something that Vince McMahon, like the famous one, or I guess the more notorious one, the current founder, or the, what am I trying to say?
Owner or whatever.
CEO, yeah. Is he didn't even go by Vince McMahon until he was like in his 20s, I've heard. Which Vince McMahon ended up like basically like getting a loan of $1 million, like that cliche, and he ended up getting the WWF passed down to him, and by the time that happened, he cut out one W and made it the WWF, and then another 20 years later it became the WWE.
They got sued.
Yeah. So Vince was never a wrestler per se before he got it passed down to him, but he was a bodybuilder, and then he has been the legit owner of them since like the early 80s, right? But when Monday Night Raw started in 1993, in January of 1993, Vince McMahon was actually a commentary person, even though in real life he was the boss of everyone.
Interesting. I did not know that.
Yeah, and he wasn't recognized as the boss until like 1997, which was, and oh my God, again, we need to have a genesis, which around that time, one of the biggest moments in the history of wrestling happened, the Montreal Screwjob, which there's so much more we could get into, but anyway.
Okay. Yeah, we'll save that for a future episode.
That'd be great. Okay, so right after this Vince McMahon height situation, a sus promoter is talking with the gang.
Yeah, this bald guy, right?
Yeah, and he's like a broadcast guy. He's real sleazy. He's like, man, we're going to make so much money off of this and all this and la. And it's just a goofy thing. It's very sus. Again, very Scooby-Doo cliche. And then I'm going to skip forward to where we get to the garage.
Yeah.
Where the WWE wrestlers, superstars, are also apparently master class engineers who are working on these monster trucks.
On their 20-foot tall monster trucks, yeah.
Fast and Furious style?
It is especially since we have a mechanic character, Big Earl, but then we see there's a montage here coming up where Fred helps build a new car for the Undertaker, and there's like probably 3-4 other mechanic guys.
Yeah. Which, like, during this time where they have this little montage of the superstars working on their engines and stuff, Stardust is making airplane noises. Yeah.
Yeah, they are always fucking around in this movie.
Yeah.
Same with the luchador guys fucking riding Scooby around and doing all their shit.
Yeah. Undertaker then befriends Shaggy and Scooby, which is totally cursed. And they're like having their conversation. They're like, "Yeah, I know you. You brought down the fire bear," or whatever.
Yeah. Yeah.
And then this is when El Torito jumps on Scooby's back. He's Scooby, 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 Scooby.
Scooby. He's riding him around.
Oh,
fucking funny.
Oh, that was good. They then like start talking about their like motives of being in the race, which I'm happy they explained a little bit about why the hell the WWE is now like NASCAR, but on like steroids. And
yeah, it's very Monster Jam.
Yeah, Dusty wanted the prize money for his family, which again is so dumb because he's a 40-year-old vet at this point, millionaire who has all the money in the world, basically.
Yep.
I want the $500,000, Daddy. I got to work on my.
At least that's better than what the Undertaker wants.
Yeah. Well, they don't announce that until a little later. But since Dusty is all messed up and he like broke his leg or whatever, like he's walking with a cane.
Yeah,
Shaggy
his back is broken.
Yeah, Shaggy and Scoob are then made racing partners with Undertaker.
Dead Meat and Skinny Man will make a return.
For real.
Okay, this doesn't also make any sense to me. This movie is better than the last one.
Yeah.
But so they have this tag team gimmick, and like, not to spoil things too much, but they wrestle while they race.
Yeah.
But it's like some teams have 3 and some have 2. So I don't get that, I guess.
They totally had an extra member. They had they had Stardust and Goldust with Sheamus.
So, and then the Luchadors have 3.
Yeah.
And then Dead Meat, Skinny Man, Undertaker are another 3, and then the rest have 2.
The Dust Brothers, if you will, should have had their own vehicle, and then Sheamus should have had someone else with him.
I think he's just with them to make them look funny.
Yeah. Which Sheamus is awesome. He's my dad's favorite wrestler. Shout out.
Yep. You told me that.
Here we go. And speaking about my family, they introduce basically my brother, Big Earl, who is trying to pay off student loans for his kids. And he's the lead designer of the cars. They don't mention that ever again, by the way. Like at the end of the movie, do they?
They use it as a thing to make him the bad guy. They're like, well, he's a red herring because he needs to pay student loans. But it's like Scooby-Doo always does that, where they have someone that doesn't really have a motive.
But because of the ending, they never go back to that. So it's just like this poor father is just indebted with his kids' student loans.
Yeah, he says he's like $300 for a book, and then they're like, "What's wrong?" It's like, my kids are going to school, but I'm the one learning. It's like, Jesus Christ!
Isn't it so sad that he works for the WWE as the lead designer of the cars, and he's like, he doesn't have money to pay for college for his kids. Why is capitalism in this movie?
I don't know. Especially since they can just like fucking make 2 monster trucks in literally like 12 hours.
Dude, Triple H could just fork over the cash and it would be fine. He wouldn't have to worry about it ever again.
Triple H being one of the returning characters, he was very sidelined in the last one, but he is returning in this movie with his wife.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Triple H didn't even sound like a human in the first movie because it sounded like they recorded him all at different times.
Mm-hmm.
Like he just kind of talked in like phrases. Okay, well, anyway, Big Earl shows Taker his car is absolute toast, and Taker gets all emotional and like gets down on a knee, and he's like, "Rest in peace," which is like his catchphrase, but he said it for his car.
And I did laugh out loud when that shit was said. It was so fucking funny. And he like rips a steering wheel in half or something insane like that. It's like, what are you doing?
So in the first movie, Daphne had the hots for John Cena. In this movie, she has the hots for Stephanie McMahon.
Man, because she's rich. She likes hanging out with rich people.
Excuse me.
Which is really ironic because like Scooby and Shaggy look like just straight poor people. And even in the last movie, he's like,
well, Scooby's a dog. So
you didn't pack any food? Well, no. Or any clothes? You only pack food? Yeah, we all wear the same thing. It's like they talk about fashion, and she fucking wears the same thing every time.
Triple H and Stephanie end up leaving the conversation, and they say they have to get pre-race manicures.
Mm-hmm.
Do racers do that?
I think they do if they're trying to get Daphne to be friends with them.
Nice. I know you were a swimmer, so like swimmers I know shave their legs, but getting a manicure before like a race seems kind of funny to me. Like, all right, Dale, we gotta make sure we get the manicure, make it pretty pink, and ride them. Like what?
I think also though that at least Stephanie and Triple H, I think they wear gloves throughout the whole movie.
Well, there's a reason for that.
Yeah, I know there is a reason for that. Yeah. But it's really funny that that is their like plot point to get Daphne to fall in love with being rich.
Yeah. Fred is then invited to join the mechanics after he was making a big fuss of how big of a gearhead he is. And there's a montage of him like making or being a mechanic, right? And he leaves the shop needed to be carried off by Big Earl, like an injured football player. He was like limping into the sunset.
He pulled an all-nighter with Big Earl, and Big Earl has to carry him.
And he was like, and like Big Earl and the rest of his crew were fine, and Fred was all like tired.
Yeah, they're making a new vehicle for Undertaker and Dead Meat and Skinny Man.
Yeah, race. Baby. And they call it the Scuba-nator.
Yeah, and it's just the Subway sandwich car.
Yeah, so exactly. So that's what I wrote. I wrote, damn, they really are making Taker drive in the Scuba-nator, which is the modded food truck.
Yeah, and they like pull up to it gets to the next day, and they're standing there next to their car, and the Undertaker's like, what the fuck? And Fred's all tired. Like, make sure you... and he falls asleep and he hits his head.
Dude, he says some hilarious shit later. Like when he falls asleep again. Okay, that's coming up. Okay, so I wrote down this random thought I had after they like presented them the car, right? Does this mean the dead man, meaning the Undertaker, canonically has a goddamn driver's license?
Do you have to have a driver's license to drive?
Oh yeah,
in a company sanctioned off-road?
Yeah. I mean, it's a fictional movie, but come on, like, so the Undertaker, full gimmick, goes to the DMV. Like, it's so funny to me. And he's like being tested by like a DMV instructor, driving instructor.
One thing I wanted to say is I feel like in this movie they are their characters more. I feel like in the last one they like understood the fact that these people are people playing characters, but in this one Undertaker's like, I will send this motherfucker to hell. Mm-hmm. It's like he like fully 100% believes he is the Undertaker in this.
Yeah. Yeah.
Which makes that even more funnier.
What do you mean? He is the Undertaker.
Yeah. I don't know. They are very into their gimmicks in this one.
Brother.
For sure.
So the race starts, and by the way, this race is, whoever wins this race gets a 30-second advantage in the
second half of the race or third of the race.
Yeah,
which is insane. 30 seconds.
Yeah, that's way too much.
Holy fuck, that is such a long time.
Okay, so the race starts, and Kofi Kingston is riding on like an Amazon package drone while sideline reporting. What?
Yeah, and it somehow can keep up with these like souped up cars. He's like Green Goblin style flying around.
Yes, it does look like the Green Goblin, and he does not have a mic. And like, there's another like drone following him around, which you can only assume is the camera, because how else could he get on, like the video for the broadcast in story? It looks ridiculous.
Have to be the fastest drones of all time. Like the U.S. military needs to buy these things from WWE.
For real. And he's surfing on it.
Yeah.
It's crazy.
Which is crazy.
So the Scoobinator is getting shit on right now.
Oh, left in the dust for sure.
It's a pooter. Like Fred stayed up for no reason.
There's just some like racing banter. It's not like anything important. They don't do anything cool in the first leg except for they get shit on and then the demon shows up.
So they call this vehicle the Scoobinator. In the movie, they call the demon's vehicle the Demonator.
I did not catch that.
I don't know why they continued to use like the naders for like all these cars, because that returns.
For
yeah, no kidding. But anyway, the Demonator has returned, and it has a scorpion tail flamethrower thing.
Yeah, like a laser beam. It's insane.
And then he tries to kill the superstars, basically.
Yeah, he's like, "This is my race."
Which, when it's revealed who it is, makes no sense.
It doesn't make any sense. It's probably... So the plan in the last movie is way better than the plan in this one, but the movie itself is better.
Yeah, the motives are horrible.
The motive is just so dog shit.
So the curse of the demon must be disrupting the broadcast connection, is a quote from Michael Cole. Or,
which is really funny.
Or this broadcast scenario is quite literally impossible. Again, Kofi is surfing on a drone with no mic, no headset, going who knows how fast, keeping up with the vehicles with all that noise and wind. Yeah. Again, it's a kid's movie, but you got to look at it as realism because the WWE is real.
Yeah, it's trying to be... Scooby-Doo always tends to be like set in a real fake world.
Mm-hmm.
Where like it's real, but it's fake.
Earth 373, baby. Or whatever from Marvel.
Is this the one race where they go to the bridge?
Yes. So, again, the Demonator has like a scorpion tail flamethrower, and the Scoobinator is way behind the pack, and they eventually get to this bridge where it's now on fire. And Undertaker says, this is a direct quote, "Undertaker does not fear the flame." Yeah, not like your brother Kane wasn't burned alive in a house fire when you were a child.
Yeah, I was going to ask about that because I kind of know like a little bit about Kane.
Kane's backstory is that he's Undertaker's brother, and he was burned alive in a fire. And then he returned at a WWF pay-per-view, the very first Hell in a Cell.
Because I used to play WWF No Mercy on my N64, and both of those characters were in it.
Nice. Okay. A bunch of shenanigans happen, and in short, the Authority ends up finishing first for this, so they get the 30-second head start.
Mm-hmm.
Lana just told Rusev...
they get on the bridge, and Scooby accidentally turns on the fucking rocket boosters first.
Oh. Oh, yeah. They figure out that there's rocket boosters. Yeah, it's crazy.
And then the Authority wins. 30-second head start.
Yeah. Lana just told Rusev, the cuck, how I continue to write him, that he should wear a pink dress for being a bitch, basically, and finishing in second to last place.
Yeah, they probably have the slowest looking vehicle. They got a big ass train locomotive car.
I don't know if Rusev had something to do with the train in WWE, because again, he was around when I wasn't watching, and I'm still trying to catch up and learn everything. So I don't know if there was something to do with the train, or if they just took that from the Russian mob owning the train stations. Like the Burt Kreischer story.
Yeah, I don't know where that comes from, but it is it's probably my least favorite car design in the whole movie.
Yeah. After more shit talking, a food fight ensues where Triple H rips off his suit and he's wearing his in-ring trunks under it.
Yeah.
Which I wonder if he is always wearing them.
I don't. He's probably wearing them because of the wrestling gimmick within the race.
Yeah.
And this is the post-race dinner.
And then basically they end up calming down, and then Vince makes the teams shuffle partners, which what's the point of even having a tag team then?
Yeah, the Miz and Paige and Russian people hate their partners.
So, spoiler, but if a team won that was not an original tandem, how the hell would they split the money? I guess they would still do $500,000 a piece, even though they are different teams. I
have no idea.
This movie, it's entertaining, but it still sucks. God.
It doesn't make total sense, but it definitely is funny. I think the funny outweighs.
Which, by the way, two very sussy moments happen back to back. Fred is still sleeping from his all-nighter, and he wakes up exclaiming, "I didn't take your doll." This what?
I did have the pause when he said that. I was laughing too hard.
And Daphne tells Velma Stephanie told her she had a gift for spandex.
Yeah, she wants her to work for WWE.
Yeah.
As a costume designer.
She also tells Velma that Steph said she'd make a great superstar, which is the most realistic thing about this movie because the McMahons are notorious for their horrible booking, as we talked about earlier.
Yeah, this is another funny line. She's like, "Yeah, she said the people would love to see you get slammed or something like that."
Yeah,
so fucking funny.
Shaggy and Scooby make a late night snack and hear a noise. It ends up being Inferno messing with the cars, which
they make the nastiest sandwich.
Oh yeah,
Inferno fucking around really in the Authority,
which poses another question: why are they not locked in a garage, meaning the cars?
Yeah, so this is the weirdest part to me. I don't know if there's a pan out shot of the parking lot, and everybody's sleeping in a motel. It's where are we in the universe, I guess? and did you see the room? It's Undertaker
and Fred,
and Scooby and Shaggy are sleeping in the same bed. There's a 3-bed motel room?
Yeah. And if you recall from the last movie, they were at a 2-bed hotel room and they made Fred sleep on the in the couch, on the couch.
Yeah.
And Scooby got the bed.
Yeah, the sleeping situation is even more odd. And I don't know. They make the nasty sandwich. They see the dude fucking around. And then the Miz shows up.
Yes. So Shaggy and Scooby scurry away. And it shows the Miz working out the exact same way he was in the opening scene of the first movie. Who's awesome? I'm awesome. And that goes repeated again and again while he's listening to music in his headphones. And his eyes are still closed. Who works out like that?
I don't know, but he does get a nasty like shoulder check surprise attack on the demon here.
Yeah, he fights the demon, and he ends up putting him in a... I couldn't really tell because of the animation. It was either a Texas cloverleaf or a figure four leg lock.
They said what move it was. I can't remember.
Damn, I missed it then.
Oh God,
was it a figure four leg lock?
No, it was like, oh shit, I can't remember. But I remember they say what move it is because he's like, I can't believe he got out of my whatever. He says it.
By the way, it shows Fred sharing her. Oh, we already said that. My bad. I had that written down. Yeah. And we're on to the next race, where, again, the Authority get a 30-second head start. And, again, there's a shuffle with the teams. Velma notices Vince is leaving, which is suspicious. The cars can turn into boats, by the way, in this race.
Yeah, this one deals with water, which Vince leaving and Big Earl being, like, red herrings in this is wild to me. Especially because we missed a couple of clues in this. They found sulfur and they found like airbag powder, but it's like those don't line up. Like I guess the airbag powder does with Big Earl, but Vince being the bad guy is insane to me.
Honestly, I skipped over this because it was just so dumb. So that's why.
They race, they get in the water and their boats and shit.
Yeah,
it's stupid.
One of my favorite scenes of this movie is like when they're in their boats and stuff, the demon starts fighting like different superstars one-on-one. And then the Taker gong, which sound effect happens. And
which
the big
plays
sub
a
sandwich
lot in this movie.
Yeah, the big sub sandwich end up coming out of nowhere. And it was just funny.
Yeah. They have magnetic boots where they can climb on their car and fix it, which was a plot point in the first race.
Yeah.
And the demon comes out of the water. He's like in a submarine car, which is even more insane. And he's got the speedboat version of his car.
Yeah, so while this fight is going on, the Authority ends up winning the race, and Team Taker is about to die over the falls. Yeah. And Taker's like, it's not over yet, and holds up a large rope of sausage link, and then another gong sound effect.
Yeah, which is a fake-out death with Scooby and Shaggy, the main characters, is wild.
It's crazy. It's the funniest part of the movie. Michael Cole's reaction is so good. So the broadcast shows Team Taker plummeting and then exploding to their death.
And it's like a big explosion. It's like no one could have survived that.
Michael Cole doesn't change his inflection at all, though. Like, he's acting like they didn't just die.
Which, luckily for him, they survive on a sausage link rope.
And Taker pulls him up to victory, almost cut the sausage while Scooby was eating it.
Yeah, Scooby's eating the stuff that he is, like, behind him. So he's pulled it up and Scooby's eating it as he goes.
What if the movie ended with those three dying?
That would have been insane.
And then there's oh, God.
Yeah, I don't know. It's fucking
crazy.
It is wild to pull a fake out death on Scooby-Doo.
Death is not funny, but how insane it is funny to me. It is a wild thing to be happening. This is a kids movie again. Vince announces the race is still on for tomorrow, despite the near tragedy.
Yeah, he says anybody that can beat the race will win $1 million. Doesn't matter if you win, as long as you survive.
So, again, this is where Undertaker character shines. And also, in real life, Undertaker rarely talks for, cutting promos. He's the dead man. He doesn't speak that often. Well, he cuts a Hogan promo, basically, which is very well known in the wrestling world. And he starts saying that he was racing to win the prize money for his Lil Taker fans. And I could not make this up, I swear to you. He would use it for Taker's Comedy Theater and Puppet Jubilee. The Undertaker is a puppet guy.
Yeah, like ventriloquist craziness going on.
It is. Hang on. I think I need to say that again. The Undertaker is a puppet guy, and he is going to use his share of the $1 million to open up a comedy theater with puppets. And he pronounced it theater.
That is true. He does say that.
I'm telling you, Taker lost at WrestleMania 30. He lost his streak at WrestleMania 30 after winning 21 undefeated to Brock Lesnar, and they buried him. They totally buried him with this movie. And then, like, what was really funny was Shaggy and Scooby, after Undertaker said that, they gave Taker a look like, "Are you concussed, bro?" Like,
yeah, they don't have a car again.
Yeah. And Taker's like, "What? I like puppets." Stephanie tells Daphne she's poor because billionaires are different than millionaires.
Wild fucking line for that's
fire.
The third most wild line in a Scooby-Doo movie.
I wish Stephanie said that in real life. That'd be a fire promo. That was the best promo of the movie.
Do you want to hear the most wild Scooby-Doo line of all time?
What?
Real quick. It's in Big Top Scooby-Doo. They're in Atlanta, and Daphne's like, "It's really beautiful here." And Velma goes, "Besides all the gang shootings."
No.
Yeah.
Bro. That's insane. Bruh. Jeez.
It comes out of nowhere. It's like the first 3 minutes of the movie.
That is insane. Okay. The next reveal is Fred soups up the mystery machine for the boys.
And it looks like straight ass.
It looks like a Transformer pre-transforming or mid-transforming.
Yeah, it really does. It really looks like a Volkswagen van, but if you put like fucking a lift kit on it, it just looks bad.
Well, that's what it was basically.
Yeah, it's odd. It's an odd choice.
So now the whole gang is now riding on Team Taker, or with Team Taker,
but they're not a part of the team. They're just there to catch the bad guy.
And without further ado, the final race starts. This is for the whole $1 million, or $500,000 apiece. Mm-hmm. And Team Mother Russia gets bozoed by the demon, big style.
Yeah, they jump on the thing, the scorpion tail swacks them.
Yeah. And all the teams end up texting each other to take out the demon instead of finishing the race.
That is a really funny part, though, because the Miz starts driving the train, and the Russians land on him, and he laughs at their face. It's so funny. He's like, ha, ha!
Yeah. Miz is funny. Shaggy and Scooby now are driving, right? Because the Undertaker now goes after the demon. And they realize, because they ate so many pretzels, the same shape as the course, they can drive now.
They know the course. They've never driven. He's like, God, I forget what he says. He's like, "Oh, you better drive down." They're like, "We've never driven before."
By the way, they are both quite literally driving. Shaggy or Scooby is sitting in Shaggy's lap. Shaggy is using his right hand. Scooby's using his left paw on the wheel.
Which this reminds me of Scooby-Doo 2004, Scooby-Doo 2, where they're in the back and the pterodactyl's chasing them. They're like, "Shaggy, who's driving?" And it's Scooby. They're like, "What the fuck?"
All teams then... sorry, I'm trying to catch myself up in my notes. So the Mystery Machine ends up winning.
Yeah, they have to jump off of Dead Man's Turn, which is now a cliff.
Yeah.
And use their parachute, which they lose their parachute early in this leg of the race. And so the authorities in first place, and she jumps off.
Yeah, they grappled like speedrunners.
Yeah, and then the Mystery Machine grapples on the demon car and like fucking lowers it faster, and they win.
Yeah, it's crazy. So the Mystery Machine wins, and they get outside towards the finish line, and Taker gives Inferno the last ride, which was his finisher for a while, and then they gave him the Tombstone, which is his more iconic finisher.
Yeah, he does beat the shit out of him in this part.
Yeah, and after that's all said and done, we get to the reveal. Are you ready for the reveal?
It's terrible. It's god-awful.
The demon is then revealed to be Triple H.
Which, he was a good guy in the last movie and helped them fight the stupid ass. And then him and Stephanie wanted to win so bad that they fucking about killed everybody a couple times.
Yeah. So the motive was Stephanie wanted to impress
her dad
by winning the WWE race.
Yeah, and having the ratings be high.
Yeah. And like they explained how they did it, and they used a blow-up dummy for Triple H.
For Triple H. Yeah.
When it looked like he was driving, and it's like, why would they even do that? And then that's when they show the gloves where Stephanie was actually the one driving, because there was a handful of scenes where Triple H was fighting the demon, but they were just like playing each other. Triple H was the demon per se. And Stephanie was I guess Stephanie was a demon and Triple H was, it's insane.
I don't know. It's complicated, but it does lead to one of the funniest scenes. She's like, Dad, I just wanted you to be happy with me. And he's like, oh, honey, I love you. And it's got all this sad music. And he's like, but now you got to go to jail. And the cops like fucking arrest her.
Yeah. Well, that happened in the Attitude Era a handful of times, honestly, which is a pretty cool callback. And then someone, I forget who, but said, okay, but why was Vince so sus? And Vince revealed that the reason he was leaving the races so suspiciously was because he was practicing to sing for the national anthem.
For the closing ceremony.
Which is just amazing. And like,
which would sound hilarious in my opinion.
Well, they end up playing him doing it, the last line. Mm-hmm. Yeah, which was in the iconic Vince voice, just awesome. But anyway, as we continue through the story where we're at, Undertaker then whips out a puppet. Kill me.
Yeah, we get to the closing ceremony and they're awarding the money and they ask him what he wants to do and he whips out his puppet of himself.
And he's not even good at it. Like in the animation, it shows him like his lips are moving.
Yeah, it does look a bit ridiculous. And then they ask Skinny Man and Dead Meat what they are planning to do.
Yeah. Shaggy and Scooby give their winnings to Dusty Rhodes for the American Dream.
They forfeit their win to Dusty Rhodes. Basically,
again,
fair is fair.
Why? What do you mean for the American Dream?
Okay, counterpoint.
Bro's a millionaire.
They mentioned that if they won the $1 million, they could buy an extra large pepperoni pizza every day for the rest of their lives. Isn't that the American dream?
That's awesome. I didn't hear that part, but that's funny.
Yeah, it's when they're talking to Undertaker about his puppet show.
That's great. Yeah, and it's crazy. So like, and they say, but like in story, they say we're gonna give it to Dusty Rhodes for the American Dream, and to this point in real life, Cody still isn't the WWE champion. Finn.
Yeah, which we barely mentioned them past the beginning, but Them and Sheamus have some funny ass, like they'll just disappear out of his car, and he's like, "Where the fuck do they go?" Like he's just so confused.
So that's the end of the movie. The IMDb rating I saw was 6.8 out of 10, which, damn, that's a lot higher than it should be. And I also learned some interesting. Well, I think so. I also learned some interesting stuff about some of the voice actors that played the side characters.
All right, shoot.
So Eric Bauza voices Big Earl, right? And he is the voice of Stimpy from Ren and Stimpy.
Oh, yep.
Foop,
I actually know.
Foop from Fairly Odd Parents. Fozzie Bear on Muppet Babies. And he's also the current voice of Daffy Duck, Bugs Bunny, Tweety Bird, Pepe Le Pew, Marvin the Martian, Dino, Woody Woodpecker, Scrooge McDuck, and Master Splinter. Not to forget Jimmy Pesto from Bob's Burgers.
I know exactly what that guy looks like. He has like mutton chops or something. He's got a wicked beard, I believe.
This guy's Asian. He's Asian.
Oh, is he? Fuck, then I'm thinking of the wrong fucking guy.
Yeah. This guy's Asian. You're thinking that the guy you're thinking of voices Jake the dog, I'm pretty sure.
Oh, you're right.
Yeah, that guy's a legend.
That guy is a legend as well.
Stephen J. Bloom, I'm not for sure, voices Inferno, who is Spike Spiegel. He's also Sub-Zero, Ares in God of War, and he's also Wolverine in one of the Marvel shows.
Interesting.
And Phil Morris as Walter Qualls has various smaller roles. Yeah. So that's pretty wild.
What would you? The last movie, I don't remember what you gave it out of 10. I think you gave it a 2.
0, probably.
And I gave it a 5. I would give this one a 7. And this is on the idea that these are rated against other Scooby-Doo movies. If I rated it against like The Dark Knight, I would be like, this is terrible. But this is a 7 out of 10 Scooby-Doo movie.
Well, I don't really know Scooby-Doo like you do, so this is still, I would say this is a 2 out of 10. And the first one we saw was a 0.
Interesting.
It was horrible. Like, it was funny, but it didn't make sense at all.
Oh, God, no, it doesn't make any sense.
And again, like, Big Earl isn't mentioned again. Like, they don't give him any money. And Qualls ends up being a genuine nice guy or whatever.
Yeah.
Or not.
This
like, he's
movie
still, like, kind of, like, pretentious, but he's not the villain. He's not the big bad.
Yeah, they wrapped this movie up quick.
Yeah, and get through the credits at the very end. They had a sweet, in loving memory of Dusty Rhodes.
Mm-hmm.
So this production is the last production that Dusty Rhodes was a part of in terms of like release date. Damn,
that's crazy to think that.
It's sad, honestly. Like, this movie does not do him justice, and yeah. Anyway, yeah, that is our review and react of Scooby-Doo, Life in the Fast Lane, whatever trash-ass Scooby-Doo WWE movie, Curse of the Speed Demon.
Mm-hmm. Life in the Fast Lane is a pretty good title, I think.
Fast Lane is the name of a WWE pay-per-view. So.
Oh, well, they could have fucking done that. That's probably where the Curse of the Speed Demon comes from. They probably paid for this script. It's already planned.
Yeah. Pretty horrible. We will definitely continue to be watching pro wrestling movies. Honestly, I kind of want to take a break from the animated ones. I definitely want to come back to them, but if you're okay with that, I'd like to move somewhere else. There is a lot of like WWE studio movies that I definitely want to check out. We will definitely be hitting the Marine at some point, which has like 6 installments, but
oh God,
we have to. Here are some of the ones that I like definitely want to watch. The Scorpion King, which I've never seen, but was the first WWE Studios released movie.
The Scorpion King is a WWE Scooby or Scooby.
Yeah.
What the fuck?
Isn't that
it's
crazy?
A movie. I know that it's because I do love those mummy movies, and The Rock was in that infamously with the bad CGI. But
yeah, I've never seen it. So
did you know there's 5 Scorpion King movies?
No.
Yeah, there is.
Damn. What the hell? Well, I don't really know about watching all of those because what I have on my list is the only Scorpion King movie released by WWE Studios was the original.
I think that's the only one with The Rock in it.
Some other ones I want to see, See No Evil with Kane.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, apparently his wiener is in the movie.
Oh, God.
That's just what I heard. I'm not 100% sure, but yeah. I don't know if you've ever seen this movie. I unironically really like this movie, The Chaperone with Triple H.
I don't even know.
You don't know?
What that is.
Okay, that movie, Triple H is like an ex-con, I think. And he basically is tasked as volunteering as a chaperone for his daughter's like school field trip, and it's really dumb. It's really funny. It's pacifier vibes.
Oh God, not the pacifier.
Some of the other ones I want to check out for sure. Again, the Marine movies. Let's see here. Did you know Oculus is a WrestleMania movie or a WWE movie?
I did not.
Yeah, so we'll have to check that out. Leprechaun Origins, definitely want to check out.
Oh, God. Hornswoggle.
I didn't even know there was a sequel to Jingle All the Way, but there's a Jingle All the Way, too, which stars Larry the Cable Guy and Santino Marella.
What?
Yeah. Do you remember?
No way.
Remember Santino Marella in the first Scooby-Doo movie?
No, I don't.
He's the Italian guy.
What?
He's hilarious. He's like the funniest.
Down!
I know, but it's Larry the Cable Guy and Santino Marella.
Oh God, I bet that's atrocious.
Oh, we got to see that for sure. The Flintstones movie, for sure. I want to see the Condemned ones. Let's see. I'm just going through some more of these.
The Jetsons and Surf's Up or whatever that macaroni penguin movie is. The Undertaker's a penguin in that one.
Yeah, I've heard that Surf's Up 2 is one of the worst movies ever.
I remember liking it when I was like 8. And I was like, I'm not the second one. I've never seen that one. But the first one is really good.
The Jetsons WWE one I want to review for sure. Just sharing some of these so the listeners know what to expect of what's coming up with Payne and I. The Resurrection of Gavin Stone I definitely want to check out as well. That is Shawn Michaels stars in it, and it's like the first project he did post-retirement from WWE.
Interesting.
Some more of them. Killing Hasselhoff I want to check out. Apparently the Iron Sheik and Hulk Hogan is in that. R-Truth is evidently in a movie called Blood Brother. Buddy Games with Sheamus. We'll have to check out the Rock and Paige movie. Family
Fighting with my family.
Yeah. And then Seth Rollins evidently has a bigger role in a movie called Armed Response that I want to check out.
And he will be in the new Captain America.
True. Has it confirmed who his character is?
I think he's the bad guy, but I don't know.
Dope. If that's
Captain
true,
America
holy crap.
Yeah, Captain America is my favorite MCU character, no matter if it's Sam Wilson or Steve Rogers. I think he's very well characterized, so that movie hopefully will be really good.
Captain America and the Winter Soldier, like what they have going on right now is awesome, so I can't wait for that. That's not going to be released for like another year and a half, though, right?
Yeah, I have no idea. I think before we watch any more movies, you should give me a history lesson. You should do that.
Oh, yeah. Let's definitely. We will do the genesis of wrestling next week. Next week, some things you can expect. I will be reviewing the Royal Rumble. Any other news that comes out about Mr. Vince McMahon? I'll be reviewing the Royal Rumble, by the way, with another brand new guest, Scott Nolte, who is one of my current coworkers and a good friend of mine. So excited to do that. But yeah, reviewing the Royal Rumble. We have a few other things I'm doing. I'll probably talk about the NXT PLE, which will be coming the following weekend. I don't know. I spend a little time on that. We'll be talking about WWE 2K24 and the games. If you recall from the beginning of this podcast, or if you scrubbed over it, I'm going to be predicting all of the Road to WrestleMania matches, which I had a lot of fun with that, writing up my script for that. And I'm sure that you will have a fun time listening to what I think will be in this coming WWE 2K24 game. The screenshots look incredible. Yeah. So, wow. We went pretty long here, hour and a half.
I figured we were around that time.
I did not think we would go that long, but otherwise, this is going to be the tail end of this episode of the podcast, The Cell, a pro wrestling show. Before we go, Payne, any closing statements anywhere that the listeners can find you online?
I don't think so. I'm thinking about maybe starting a channel of my own. We'll see.
Oh, dope.
Next time I'm on,
yeah, we'll
see if I did that or not. But otherwise, I'm good to go.
Rock on, brother. Well, I appreciate you joining us today. Lots of love, and hopefully hear from you soon.
Yep.
Otherwise, hey, you enjoy yourself. Have a great weekend, and I'll check you to review the Royal Rumble for 2024.